Woke journalists are finally taking censorship seriously, and I can't help but smile as they reap what they sow. Welcome back to Otaku Daikun. I'm Dai-chan Alter, and today we're going to be discussing a very sloppy Yuri situation. Last season, we were treated to the anime Gundam the Witch from Mercury, a gorgeous series that left me unsatisfied with its premature climax. It's one of those stories that you tolerate and ride the wave, hoping for an emotional payoff, but in my opinion, that sweet release never came. If you enjoy this content, be sure to like, comment, share, and smash that subscription bell as if it were Gareth. Consider supporting us as a generous member on YouTube, or joining our Subscribestar or Patreon. All three platforms offer the same perks, such as early access, exclusive videos, and even some fun that's too spicy for YouTube. Without further ado, let's dive in. To articulate what's going on here, I need to spoil the premise and epilogue of Gundam Witch. Either go watch it for yourself or sit tight, as you've been warned. The anime follows Suletta, a timid girl who transfers into a prestigious mobile suit academy that trains engineers and pilots. The school's top dog, the one who holds the title of strongest in mobile suit duels, is given the exclusive right to marry the principal's daughter, Miorine. Unknowingly, Suletta becomes champion after beating the previous champ and is shocked to meet her new fiancé. While Miorine points out how a lesbian marriage isn't uncommon in her culture, it's initially difficult to tell if she's serious about the marriage or is just using Suletta as a shield so she doesn't have to marry some sleazy guy against her will. By the end of the series, however, their passion is abundantly clear. This is confirmed in the epilogue when Suletta and Miorine meet up, wearing a pair of matching wedding rings. As if that weren't obvious enough, it's further validated when Suletta's sister calls Miorine her sister-in-law. My biggest gripe with this anime is its emphatic queer-baiting. While I understand how toxic it can be to assume that two platonic friends must be lovers based on how close they are, there's no denying that Gundam Witch was targeting fans of Yuri. Yet, the show is such a tease, never bothering to show us them kissing or getting married. Perhaps the show could have taken a moment out of the complex, clumsily written political schemes to give us a bit more sapphic goodness. I think that sums up most people's reception to the series. It tries to juggle its academic romance with a heavily convoluted military and economic conflict, never really diving headfirst into either. Honestly, I had to take a cold shower after that last episode because it sure wasn't going to satisfy me. Regardless, even though it's not very potent, it's still affirmed that Suletta and Miorine are a valid couple, but recent drama has called that into question. Essentially, the Japanese actresses for Suletta and Miorine responded in an interview, noting how the girls were married in the last episode. This interview was published physically, but when it was released online in digital form, its reference to marriage was suspiciously absent. LGBT fanatics noticed this and rang the alarm, causing Namco Bandai, the anime's publisher, to perform damage control. In their words, they removed a statement that was based on an editor's speculation. In layman's terms, they're implying that the lesbian romance is only a theory, or rather, up to people's interpretation of what happens in the anime. Of course, this just pissed everyone off, with the highlight of today's video being Polygon, a woke journalist site claiming that Namco Bandai is censoring queer representation. It's a loaded accusation, and there are a few things worth discussing. One thing's for sure, Namco Bandai has blatantly admitted to their queer-baiting strategy here. If you're not too familiar with the concept, queer-baiting is when a story strongly invokes or implies gay romance, only to never deliver the goods. It's their attempt to draw in fans of gay romance without turning other viewers away. The way I see it, there's an optimistic and pessimistic reason for doing this, though both are likely equally frustrating to the audience. The optimistic motive is to encourage shipping culture. If you can imply romance between one or more characters, you can rile up a fandom over which ship is best. This results in tons of fan art, fanfics, doujinshi, and lots of engagement. There's a fear that, by declaring any of those relationships canon or official to the story, you're shooting down those hoping for a different ship. While canonical love hasn't ever stopped the influx of alternative works, it is possible that fans of other ships will simply tune out. By purposefully teasing audiences, however, it's possible to avoid shutting anyone down. This honestly has nothing to do with queer love, as it happens all the time with straight ships too. On the pessimistic end of things, creators use queerbaiting to entice yuri or yaoi fans, but pull out at the last second to not offend any homophobes. It's all about that money, and if, say, China were to object to the story for having gay couples, the creators can always gaslight them with a no homo disclaimer. By leaving matching rings and sisters-in-law up to interpretation, Namco Bandai is admitting that they want our money, but not enough to actually follow through. Take it from me, boys, this kind of pull-out method just doesn't work. Going back to that Polygon article, it turns out they aren't actually accusing the anime itself of being censored, but rather just that one interview with the voice actors. Of course, you wouldn't know that from their clickbait headline. How shameless. To that end, though, I will agree. The interview was most certainly censored. Namco Bandai denied us the full experience. Luckily, the anime itself remains the same, for better or worse. That said, if we ever found out that the anime's creators planned for more intimate scenes between Suletta and Miorine, but they were rejected or removed through executive interference, that would totally be censorship as well. As of this video, though, we can't really prove that. So yes, censorship is truly atrocious, but that's not usually how it's framed by journalists. More often than not, these writers are drooling at the mouth to defend censorship and label its critics as incel trolls who whine that things were changed. The perfect example came out recently with the whole Skullgirls fiasco. While the new devs for Skullgirls altered the game in its art book right out from under their customers, reviews critiquing the change were declared as off-topic. Blue Protocol, another Namco Bandai license, is essentially dead on arrival for censoring various aspects of the game, such as a toggle for jiggle physics. When fans pointed this out, GameSpot published an article saying we're crying censorship, as if to imply our concerns don't matter. Seeing Polygon call out censorship just proves how hypocritical they've been. Censorship is a plague, a disgusting carnivorous monster that will taint anything it comes across. When Twitter freaks dismiss our concerns and support censorship, we often tell them it's only a matter of time before something they care about gets censored unfairly. Well, it's finally happened, and so are watching the very same people who fed and grew this censorship monster finally getting eaten by it. I love seeing those jerks screech, and I sincerely hope they learn a thing or two going forward. Censorship is always bad, and if you're going to tolerate it, then you can't say shit when it finally comes for you. Hilariously, Polygon is currently getting obliterated on Twitter, with people telling them it's not actually censorship, it's just localization, or an attempt to appease the masses. All the lame and horrible excuses we've gotten before. The irony is that diversity and inclusion, as they often beg for, is actually to blame here. We've said it before in prior videos, but when companies speak about diversity and appealing to a global market, their method is to water down artistic freedom so that it doesn't offend anyone. Rather than making sure there's something for everyone to cherish, they instead sanitize it to the lowest common denominator. It's a losing game, though, since literally everything is offensive to someone. Sometimes you've got to have the backbone to say that, even though someone's offended, that doesn't mean you are trying to be offensive. In this case, now that the offended party consists of homophobes, wokies are finally willing to acknowledge the futility of trying to appease everyone. Sadly, I'm sure they'll be back to calling us incel trolls before you know it. If only they could see that Gundam Witch would have been able to go all out with its lesbianism if they didn't have to appease China or other markets. Instead, in order not to offend anyone, we're stuck with the anime's unsatisfying conclusion. It only ever confirms Suletta and Miorine's marriage in a single scene that can be easily altered in case China threatens to ban it. I hate censorship, but just for a moment, it's managed to perk me up, knowing that even aunties are feeling its wrath. If they know what's good for them, they'll finally start taking us seriously. If not, we'll be stuck with only anime and games that slip by without offending specific groups. Until then, let's just interpret Gundam Witch as it should be, with Suletta and Miorine happily married. Use this drama against anyone who tries to argue that censorship isn't a big deal. After all, no one is safe from it, whether it's queer representation or some delicious waifu being erased. But what do you guys think? Did Gundam Witch tickle your fancy, or are you like me, left begging for more? I look forward to your intriguing feedback in the comments below. Don't keep me waiting.
Thanks for watching!
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and
Most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
you can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
Celebrate your fandom.
I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters. VideoGamer75, Steven Elak, Samuel Gersten, The Nonchalant Ostrich, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Lord Omagoden, Free Brick, Olympian Doll, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Link Pendrago, Observer Bellis, King Kobo, James Hewitt, Uncanny EXP, Andre Foster, Jared Kraus, Yukie Eros, Sogai CH, Caitlin P, Vladimirovna, Jonathan Padua, The Taz 96, Kengo X 77, Alistair Bernadotte, and Akakaze Yume. Thank you all so much.